Hello, this is Baron from Ragic. I'm trying to stream from Facebook Live this time as well, so that if you have any connection problems, let me know because this is the first time I'm simultaneously streaming through YouTube and Facebook. So today's webinar is about importing and exporting data, and we're going to talk a lot about those points and each option you might have for importing and exporting. And if you have any questions, please write to me through the live chat and I'll try to answer as much as I can. Alright, great. So we will be starting in a minute, and if you have any questions on YouTube, you can write to the live chat on the right side, and on Facebook you know how to comment. Both you'll probably need to be logged in, and we'll talk about importing data first and then all the exporting options that you might want to have. Alright, so we'll begin in a couple of minutes. If you want to grab a coffee, just go first and we'll begin shortly. And if you have questions right now about importing or exporting or what you are trying to do, you can write in the live chat from now on. Alright, today we're first going to talk about importing and exporting. And if you want to join another webinar, we have a scheduled one on the 29th. So 10 days later, about building a school database, and that is going to be mostly about assigning classes and students to teachers and then trying to figure out how to make the connections there. So it doesn't really necessarily have to be a school. You can have that kind of structure for your training program, whether it's fitness or some workshops or whatnot. So if you think that that's related to your case, then you can join and see and have a few ideas on our school building database. Now today we're going to talk about importing your data and then exporting data from Ragic. And first of all, what I have here is a spreadsheet on Excel. And this is basically a fake price list that I made, and I'm going to import this data into Ragic. Now, you don't really have to create the sheet on Ragic first. So for newcomers, when you design a form in Ragic, you basically have all the fields on the form page. So this is what we call the form page on the left side. And we have empty fields, the product ID, product name, category, and price, which correspond to all the fields I have on the spreadsheet. So this spreadsheet is a pretty classic spreadsheet. This is the formatting that we want for importing into Ragic. The first row is the column headers, which are essentially our fields, and then each row has their corresponding data. For example, a pepperoni pizza slice has the product ID of 135660, and then the category is food and drinks, and the price is $1.34. So this is the classic structure that we want. You don't really have to create this structure in Ragic first. You can directly import the spreadsheet, but we're going to do it both ways to show how this import would work. So basically we want this kind of structure. The field titles should be the first row, and the rest of the data goes into the correct categories, and they will be separated row by row. So these are all entries by themselves, and we have 43 entries in our spreadsheet. So I know a lot of you might have a lot more entries in your database that you keep in your spreadsheet, but that's okay. We can import that as well. So to import this into my form page here, I can go to Tools, and through Import Data from File. Now I'm going to select this from my computer, which is this file. And again, Ragic is reminding me that the first row should be the headers and the other rows should be the entries over here. So I selected my file, and then I'm going to click Next. And the encoding is UTF-8. So if you have other languages, you might need to check this to see which encoding fits. And I'm going to go Next. So this import wizard is important in this step. It's very important to select the correct fields that these correspond to. So I might have different names on my spreadsheet. That's okay. It doesn't really have to be the same as my Ragic database form, but I need to select the correct field to map to. So I'm selecting name over here, and the category is the right field, and the price is also the right field. So I'm going to click next through here, and it's asking me if I want to create a new record or renew data. So in this import policy step, just make sure that when you're first importing your data, you can create a new record. So that makes sure that each row on your spreadsheet is gonna create a new record on Ragic. So this is important if you have duplicate data in your spreadsheet. I do recommend cleaning up your spreadsheet first to make sure that everything is accurate, but I know it's not always the case in most of you guys, and you might have way too much data on your spreadsheet at the first run. So creating a new record is a good option here. And renewing data is very useful when you want to re-upload data into Ragic. So we're going to go through that later. And we also have advanced options here, which are to do with how you're interacting with your database. So that's also going to come later. Okay, I'm going to go next over here, and we're going to import our price list for our products. So that already imported my 40 plus entries. And here we are in one of my product entries saying blue skirt, and it already went into the category. So I did not have any options on the selection field before, but since I already imported all of them, now it's showing my categories as different options on my selection field. By the way, for the people who had just joined, please send me any questions you have through the live chat. So on YouTube, you have to scroll down a little bit and it should be on the right. If you have a wider screen, it should be on the right already. On Facebook, you know how to comment. You all have to be logged in already. Alright. So I hope that is helpful. And I'm going to continue. But if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to let me know. And you're not interrupting anything. I'll just come back to you when I can. Alright, so this is my price list imported already, and for newer users in Ragic, you can see that this is kind of similar to what our spreadsheet looked like. But basically what Ragic does is it displays your entries in a listing page that kind of looks like a spreadsheet, but you can click into every entry and you can have more fields on each form page and then display what you need on the listing page as you see fit. Alright, any questions so far? No? Okay, so we're going to do the same thing for our spreadsheet over here, but without creating the product sheet first. So that's also possible. We are just going to click this plus sign over here next to my all the tabs I have over on the top. So this plus sign is to create a new tab or sheet. So I don't really have to create a new tab each time. The tabs are kind of like folders that collect all your sheets. I'm going to create a new sheet with my price list with my Excel file. So if you do not want to create your form in the first place, you can do this and check the option create new sheet with my Excel file and create that. By the way, the access right, you can actually select anything over here, but you can change them manually later as well. So I did go through some access rate options on the 8th, and you can find it on our YouTube channel, one of our previous webinars, and I will not really go through the access rate options this time. So it's, again, the import policy is going to be the same, and this is going to create this time it's going to ask me what type of field these are. So I'm going to make the product ID a free text field. The product name is also going to be a free text field because anything can be entered there. The category can be a selection field, which is a drop-down menu basically that will give me the options that are in here. And the price should be a money field. Alright, so I'm going to go to next, and it's going to import this into a separate sheet. So as you can see, it's practically the same as the one before, but I just created this by importing. So you don't really have to pre-create your database forms before you import them. It doesn't really matter whether you import your data directly from a spreadsheet or you want to create your form properly first and then import all your data from somewhere. So the two have their own uses. You don't really have to create every time you import because sometimes you need to update data over here. For example, if I were to get a price list from headquarters and find that everything has changed price-wise over here. For example, this is $10 now, this is 15, this is 20, and let's change this to 25, okay? So if I save this, sorry, there we go. If I save this data, and I want to update the price list over here, all I have to do is go to import data from file again and choose the same price list that I'm importing into. And this time in the import policy, I need to make sure that I want to update my data. So this time we're selecting renew data in our import policy to update the existing records. So what Ragic does is it kind of understands that your first column is the unique ID field, and that's also configurable on your Ragic sheet as well and some of the advanced settings. But usually the first column should be the unique identifier that identifies each of your rows from each other. And it's going to check to see if that product code exists, and it will check if there are any changes in the other values that I have, and then it will update the changed value. So it's going to check to see if it already exists in my database, and it's going to update a changed value. So if I don't have a value, for example, if I add 10 new products on my spreadsheet, it's going to check to see if the first value exists, and it doesn't for new products, so it will add all the related data as a new entry. So in my case, it's going to update the values only because that's what I did on my imported spreadsheet. So you can see right away that the ones that I updated should be updated over here. So the laptop stand that we just changed to $25 is $25 over here. And what else we changed in the home department? All my prices have been updated with the ones I have on my spreadsheet. So this happens because I already have them on my database and I imported data from my updated file. So that is for your existing values in your database. Any questions so far? I would be glad to answer any questions you have, so please don't hesitate to let me know through the live chat from either YouTube or Facebook. Alright, and the same thing can be done by if you are hosting your spreadsheet files on Google Sheets or somewhere elsewhere online that is a downloadable CSV or Excel file. You can also import data from URL, and that will take you to a place where you can enter the URL of your Excel file or the new XLSX extension. Not very new anymore, but you get the gist, or a CSV file. So you can actually import through your spreadsheets that are hosted online. And in this option, you can actually keep the data synchronized from the URL. So this is very useful if you're using Google Sheets and other services that are online and people are actually adding new data into it. And this will synchronize your data from that URL every day. So that every day is the server reset time that is in your company settings, and that might change according to what you set it up, but that will overwrite all the imported data every day. So make sure that's what you want when you're doing this option. So the import policies are all going to be the same, and you will go through that wizard again in this option, but that's also a way of importing your data into Ragic. All right. So So the next thing is exporting from Ragic. Is everyone clear on all the importing options you have? Yeah, okay, please don't hesitate to write me any questions because I will be glad to clarify. Alright, so the next thing is exporting your data. Now you can export this in kind of like this form into a CSV or Excel file. So if you download as text file through Tools, Export, Download as Text File, that will download as a CSV file. So you can actually customize which fields you want to be exporting as well. So the fields on listing page will show me, the listing page right now is showing me all my fields, but if I wanted to, I could have hidden all my categories and then from the listing page field picker. So that is accessible through the design mode on your listing page. And you can kind of decide the order and which fields are going to be displayed on your listing page. So this is very useful when you have tons of fields on your form page and you don't really need to show them on your listing page. But while exporting, we probably want to have all of those fields. So you can check all fields. You can check fields on listing page if all you want are these 3 fields, or you can customize which fields are going to be exported. So that will also give you something that similar to what we just saw on the field listing page field picker menu in the design mode that we just saw, but it's for the export options. And you can actually save those custom field settings if you want to. Alright, so if I wanted to download all my fields and all the entries, not only the top 1,000, I will select these options, and downloading that will download to my computer, which is fine for me. So price list is what I'm downloading to, and if I open it, then I will see my price list. There we go. So that's how Ragic downloads your data. If I download it in Excel, it will again look the same. The text one is just CSV, and the Excel one, I think, is the XLS format. Alright. And, well, if you don't want to download and you want to print this instead, you can select printer friendly, and that's also an export type. If you do this directly through the listing page, it will look like a spreadsheet like this, and you can print it directly through your browser settings. So for those who don't know, right-click print or Control-P works for printing, and you can save as a PDF or print this version directly. If you want to have a more detailed version of this, you can print as form pages, and that will download, kind of display your form pages one by one. So let's try that out. It will display each product as how they look like in the form page. So this will follow your design in your form page, and then it will go by order that is on your listing page. So if you have a filter on this, if you have a filter on anything on your sheet, it will apply to all the export options and all the reports you're generating. Okay, so I hope that was clear, the printer-friendly version. And the mail merge is quite a different thing. So the mail merge is you can download your data in a certain template that you can create and download your data in the template that you download, the template that you uploaded to Ragic. So what that does is you can download a sample template that's blank and you can customize. So let's do that first. So I downloaded the template, and now I'm going to customize my template so that I can upload it back. Alright, so this is my template on Excel, and you can see that I have these brackets that are from smaller than and larger than icons, and that is my field name. So you can see that product ID, product name, category, and price are all my field names, but I can actually use this and do whatever I want with it. So basically what these are inside the brackets, these will display the value that's being exported from Ragic, and it will show up in the formatting that I want. So let's say that I want to add a border. And then let's say that we want some color in here. Let's fill it with blue again. And then price. Yeah, this can do. So I'll save that. Okay, continue. Okay, so I saved that as sales XLS. And I'll create a template saying like price list. And upload what I just created. Oops. Sales. There we go, and upload. And now if I mail merge all the, let's say we want to mail merge a certain category. So let's filter this first to furniture, and this will download all my furniture data in the template that I just created. So let's click mail merge over here, and all entries download. And that will download my data in a zip file for Excel. And each of those files are going to show up with the format I applied. So I had a fidelity lost warning when I saved this, so it kind of doesn't really take my color, I guess. But yeah, that's the template that I uploaded into Ragic. The Word one is more useful for most people, so I'm going to go over that as well. Let me just open up a Word file, and then I will create a template for my products. So let's say, dear customer, the quote you requested for our products, and again I'm going to use the brackets, and then I can put these wherever I need to. Yeah, I'm not going to use the category, I'm just going to use the price regarding the quote you requested. So you can compose this as you need, and if it makes sense to your company, you can edit this. So a lot of people like to use this kind of document to compose letters, for example, for VIPs, and updating info, or like sending out letters. So I'll write the price, and these are all case sensitive, so I am using my field names, and they're supposed to be all case sensitive when I'm writing this. Please confirm your availability to pick up. I can't type today. Best regards, sales manager, Amy Hampton. Alright, so that I can save in my computer. Let's say that this is a quote one. And I'm going to save that, and I am going to upload that as a mail merge document over here. So I'm going to save. Where did that go? Quote one. Quotes. Alright, and if I mail merge with this template that I just did. It's again going to download as a zip file to my computer, and it will be all in that format. Oops, I opened the wrong one. Did I? Let's try again. There we go. Mail merge, all entries, download. Oh, yes. Okay, save. Let me open that. There we go. So it is showing them all in one document, but it's showing all the information that I wanted. So basically you can kind of separate all of these and use it as you see fit. Alright, next option is publish to the web. Now for publish to the web, we did go over this, and it's a little bit long explanation in one of our other webinars last month. But basically what you can do is you can make your database sheet go public, and then with publish to the web you can have your customers download the database sheets data as a CSV or Excel file, or you can use that URL to import into Google Sheets or other third-party applications. Okay, let's see. And I always get this question about exporting from subtables. So for newer users, subtables are something where you have more data within your database form. A good example for that we can create right now. For example, we have a customer sheet, and the customer sheet has the customer ID, the name, last name, phone number, and email. Okay, so this is their basic entry in their form. But if we are contacting that customer constantly, then we probably need to take records, especially if I have a lot of salespeople that are working with the same customer, or if we want to see all their previous transactions, we probably need to keep a record for that. So let's say that we were keeping track of their transactions, and transaction timestamp, and this can be a date field with the formatting, the month, day, year, and then hour, minute. And what I can do in a subtable is I can have multiple records on the same customer. So you know how on this field there is the field title, and the white part is where the field value would go. Now when I'm designing this database sheet, I can actually ignore where this value is going to be and write directly onto the next field that I want in the subtable. So that can be the store. For example, I have 5 stores, like Bank, Catherine, Queen, Princess, and let's say Slater. So these are my 5 stores on different streets. So I just have their street name. And amount can be the dollar amount that they spent, and then note, which is a free text field where my employees can write notes. So this is a subtable within my form, and I can actually, you can see that the values have shifted downwards, and they're now like in 3 different rows, but that is where I designed the subtable to be. So I can actually put more fields over here. So for example, I can have a total amount ever spent kind of field, and I can apply a formula over here that will summarize the amount on C7. So that is my subtable over here with all our transactions. Let's make up a customer right now. So let's add Sophia Smith. whose phone number I'm going to make up. Let's say that they had made a transaction this morning on bank with $25 and they're a new customer and new customer. So I can add as many entries as I need to. And this subtable is going to expand as I write into here. So you can see that this subtable expands as much as I need it to. Okay, and if I want to export all the data in my subtable, then the first thing I would need to do is, because my different customers might have different transactions, for example, if I had a new customer named John Smith, his transactions are going to be different, and I would need all my transactions for each of these people. So the first thing I would need to do is I would need to create a new sheet from my subtable, because in this case the only thing I can do is do the printer friendly and print as form pages so that I can see all the transactions, but that means that I can see the transactions separately for each customer, which I don't want. What I want to do is to see all the transactions I've ever made and perhaps filter them by date and time and whatnot. So next thing I can do is to go to my design mode, and through the form tools I will generate a new sheet from the subtable. So this will automatically create a sheet that collects all my transactions. So let's rename this calling transactions. And I can actually, because this automatically shows me all the customer IDs and all the stores that these transactions were made, and as I enter new entries into my customer transactions, you can see that, for example, John is buying another round of coffees for his coworkers in the middle of the night, and you can see that this transaction is also going to be on here. So if I wanted to export all my transactions, I can export from this new sheet. And if I needed the details that I had on my customer sheet, like the name and the phone and email, because I linked the customer ID as the parent that connects my customer details to the transactions, I can actually select the related fields and drag and drop them from my transaction sheet. From my customer sheet. There we go. So you can actually export this data if you needed to. And if I want to see my customer's name and last name on my listing page, I can add them over here. Alright, any questions so far? Alright, those are all the import and export basics, and if you have any advanced questions, you can always ask us at support@ragic.com, and we will be very glad to point you in the right direction. Again, that's support@ragic.com. Let me write that down for you guys. And if you all have any questions about this, then please let us know through support, and I will be glad to host another webinar on the 29th, and that is going to be about a school database, or mostly about building a system where we can have teachers and their students and their training program and see how all the relations are built together. So if you have a training program or workshops, that's also related, so feel free to join in. And I'll be glad to answer questions about that next time. Alright everyone, thank you so much for joining this short webinar about importing and exporting data. And again, you can reach us through support@ragic.com if you have any questions. Thank you very much. Bye all.